Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this preview for the Live to Lead virtual fundraising event that I am so excited to organize on behalf of the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Angela Bergstrom. I am the owner of Step Into Humility Leadership Solutions, and I provide leadership development, consulting, coaching, training, and speaking with an emphasis on servant and transformational leadership. So the purpose of today's preview is to provide some key information related to the virtual fundraising event. People often have a lot of questions around this event, such as what is Live to Lead? Who are the speakers? Who am I going to hear from this year? How does the online platform work? That's always a big question that people have when we do virtual things. How much are tickets and how can I get them? And probably my favorite question, how does this event benefit the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce? So I'm going to dive right in with that first question and talk about what Live to Lead is. So this event is a half-day leadership conference that has been going on now for 7 years. It is usually held in person live in Atlanta, Georgia, usually in the fall around October. And the event is hosted by John Maxwell. So he speaks, he always opens and closes the Live to Lead event, and he invites 3 to 4 other, highly revered speakers to join him on the stage to talk about their experience and provide insight and learning around leadership. So as a member of the John Maxwell team, I have the opportunity to purchase a license and be designated as a host for the Northeast Wisconsin region. So with that license, I'm able to provide replays. Usually I do them on site or in person with organizations or with groups. This year with COVID, of course, many of us experienced the in-person stuff pretty much went away. So fortunately for me, John Maxwell was very quick to pivot, and they got us set up with a really great company called LeaderPass so that we could actually provide this conference virtually to people so that you could watch it in the safety and comfort of your own home or your office instead of being in a big group of people in an audience. So I'm really excited to be able to do this, and I found out a couple weeks or months ago that we could actually offer this as a fundraising opportunity for a nonprofit organization. So when I heard that we could do that, I jumped all over it, contacted John, and really excited to partner with the chamber to be able to offer this event and donate 50% of the ticket sales back to the Oshkosh Chamber. So the next thing I want to do is talk to you about the speakers. Some of them you're probably familiar with, but there might be a few names you aren't. So just want to give you some background on the speakers and the topics that they covered at Live to Lead this year, starting with John Maxwell. So John has been identified as the #1 leader in business by the American Management Association, the AMA. It's a pretty big deal. He's also been recognized as the most influential leadership expert in the world by both Business Insider and Inc. magazines. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He has sold over 30 million books in 50 different languages. So believe me when I say this guy knows a thing or two about leadership. And his topic this year was Change Your World. That was actually the theme of the whole conference. And what he talked about he does 2 talks, as I mentioned, he opens and closes. So he talked about the joy of the journey and transformational leadership. And within his talk, he covers 10 key steps to achieve compounding success throughout one's life. He's always big on helping us figure out how can we be more successful and reach our goals. And then more importantly, he also discusses the leadership deficit that we have in the world and how the answer to this void or this deficit is transformational values-based leadership. So it's a very powerful, very inspirational, one of those talks that really gets you thinking, how can I make a difference? It's just really great this year. Of course, I would say that with him anytime he talks because he's just so full of wisdom and knowledge. Then we have Kat Cole. So she is the COO of Focus Brands North America. Now, if you're not familiar with Focus Brands, they are a leading developer of global multi-channel food service brands, some of which I'm sure a few of you have eaten at before. Auntie Anne's, the pretzel place. We have Carvel, Cinnabon. Who doesn't love cinnamon rolls and Cinnabon? Jamba, McAllister's Deli, Moe's Southwest Grill, and Shalotsky's. Now, in her talk, Hustle and Heart, Lessons from Unexpected Places, Kat shares her personal story of her rise from very humble and very difficult beginnings to becoming a powerful global executive. And she shares with us some of the most important, leadership lessons and experiences that she learned along the way in her journey. And then we have Steve Harvey. So most of you are probably familiar with Steve as the host of the game show Family Feud. He's a really, really funny guy. He's an award-winning entertainer. He also, that's not the only hat he wears, he's also a New York Times bestselling author. He's a businessman and a philanthropist. People call him the busiest man in Hollywood. And so his segment is actually done as an interview with John Maxwell. And he talks about how we can achieve success through communication and leadership. What I really appreciated about his talk or his interview with John is that, we're often used to seeing the really funny side of Steve. And as he was talking with John, he actually showed us a pretty vulnerable side of himself as he talked about a lot of his own experiences and hardships and, the things he had to go through to get where he is today. So it was a really emotional talk I'll share with you, but I would say it was one of my favorites as well. A lot of learning from Steve. We also have Alan Mullally. So this guy is an aerospace engineer and a manufacturing executive. He brings a wealth of knowledge and experience as it relates to leadership to our stage this year. So he's the former CEO of Boeing Commercial Airplanes. He was also the CEO and president of Ford Motor Company. Ford actually hired him away or convinced him to jump ship, or I guess jump airplane from Boeing to Ford at a time when Ford was in a lot of trouble. I think it was back around 2008-ish, somewhere in that time frame. Ford was running into, they had a lot of problems. And so they hired Alan and had him come in, and Alan turned that company around. So Alan himself is not an author, but there is a book written about his time at Ford and the big turnaround that he led that company through. So for his talk, he covers strategic and operational leadership and working together. So he just talks about how through using specific strategy, which is also very important to leadership, and more importantly, when everyone works together, you can turn a company around and you can navigate through even the most challenging of situations. What I really appreciated about Alan as well is he brings the perspective of an engineer and a manufacturing executive. And within our region here in Northeast Wisconsin, and especially the Oshkosh area, we have a lot of manufacturing and engineering. So it was just a really great perspective to hear his approach on leadership, which, by the way, is very different than the traditional kind of command and control leadership that a lot of those industries are used to. And then our fifth speaker this year was Craig Groeschel. So he is the senior pastor of Life Church. He is also a New York Times bestselling author. As you can see, we have a lot of authors in our lineup this year. And he speaks about anticipatory leadership, how to lead effectively into the future. So what he does is he talks about the key qualities that differentiate anticipatory leaders from reactionary leaders, and how they see problems early, how they solve them quickly, and then seize opportunities passionately. So as you can see, Live2Lead provides this awesome lineup of leadership experts who all covered topics that are so highly relevant to today's environment. You think about what we just came through in 2020, a lot of that is still going to spill over into 2021. And, leaders are faced with situations that they've never experienced before. So how do you lead through that? Well, all of these speakers provided incredible information to help you do that. Now, one of the questions that people ask me is, well, Angie, who's the ideal audience for Live2Lead? Is this more for high-level executives? Is it more for like entry-level leadership? And my answer is, if you're leading in any capacity today, any capacity, whether you're up and coming, whether you're brand new, mid-level, you've been leading for 40 or 50 years, even if you don't have a formal leadership title, you need to watch this conference, because the information that was provided, like I said, it was an absolute wealth of knowledge and insight, and just really things that can help everybody, especially as we navigate through all of the things that we're dealing with right now, current day in our society. And it's one of the things I love about Live to Lead is that it's a high energy conference. It's entertaining, it's motivational, it's well put together. It's just really a great way, I think, to kick off the year 2021. With this event, you invest in your personal growth, you can expand your leadership, and more important, you can help support the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce, who does so much for the member businesses and for our community. I just feel like it's a great way to give back to the chamber and learn and invest in yourself at the same time. So what I want to do next is pull up the platform itself so that you can see exactly what it looks like, how to use it. There won't be any surprises when you get your ticket and you get logged in. So just bear with me for 1 second as I get a new screen share set up here. Okay, so you should all be seeing my screen. It says dashboard. This is what you will see when you log in to your account. Again, LeaderPass is the company that we are working with to be able to offer this in a virtual platform. A great company to work with. So you log in and it takes you to your dashboard. So you can see there's a few things on here. Off to the left, we have a little menu. You have a profile section that you can click on, and if you need to change your password or any of that kind of stuff, it's there. You will likely not have invites or referral programs. That's on mine because I'm a host. Under virtual passes, you'll only have one listed. Disregard the West Pass, that's a host thing. You also have help and support, and then you can log out. So you have that little menu there. To get into the viewing area, what you need to do is either click on your pass on the left-hand side here in the menu, or you can come over to this icon in the middle of your screen and click on that. So we are now in the viewing area. I'm just going to scroll down real quickly and show you everything that's in here. Then I'm going to bop back up to the top and go through a couple things in a little more detail for you. So as we scroll down, we've got the live main stage. We have 2020 on-demand sessions. There's some welcome and highlight videos. And then this is one of my favorite parts of this whole thing. I love that they did this. We have bonus talks. So there's 2.5 hours of bonus content from the 2019 Live to Lead speakers. And I can tell you they were awesome, just as good as this year's speakers. We had Marcus Buckingham, Rachel Hollis, Chris Hogan, Angela Arends, and of course, John Maxwell. He's at every single Live to Lead. And then there's some host resources. So let me get back up to the top. And I want to just show you how these things work. So any of these tiles that are listed as you go through the page, if you click on them, it will bring you back up to the top and it opens up your little viewing screen. So once you're here, you have all the control. You can play, you can forward, you can rewind, pause. If you want to make it full screen, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to bring it back to the small screen while I'm doing my little preview here. So anything you watch is going to come up here. A couple things. On the live main stage, you see the full run of show. So that is the 2020 conference as it was live on October 9th. You get to replay that whole conference. Just a little note here, you see it says 5 hours and 15 minutes. The conference was actually 4 hours and 15 minutes in length. What I want to point out to you is that there is a 30-minute timer or countdown timer at the front of it and at the back of it. So if you're going to watch the full run of show, you want to commit to the 4 hours and 15 minutes, what I recommend you do is take this little slider and advance it to about that 30-minute mark. So you don't have to wait for the timer. Go ahead and release it, and then it's going to play for you. So that's the full run of show. There's also this event guidebook. If you want to print it off, you can. I honestly don't recommend that you do. Basically, when we have live in-person events, we can, I hand out a booklet to all the participants. That's what this is. But if you have a notebook, you can take notes because it just has like information on the speakers and some pages for notes. But again, if you want to print that off, you're more than welcome to. If you click on this, it'll get you to a PDF that you can print. If you don't want to watch the full run of show that has, again, the hosts and the intros and the outros and all that kind of stuff, if you only want to watch the speakers, that's what this 2020 on-demand sessions section is for. So if you click on this, I'll just click on John Maxwell, for example. It's going to bring you back to the top, and it has just his talk. There's nothing before it, nothing after it. It's just his talk. And then you can do that for all of them. So if we click, we've got Kat Cole, we have Steve Harvey, Alan Mullally, Craig Groeschel. So if you want to just watch the individual speakers, or maybe there's only a couple of the speakers that you want to watch, that gives you the option. Now, an important note about this 2020 content, the full run of show and the on-demand sessions for each speaker, you only have a 5-day window to watch this content. So it'll open up on January 15th around midnight, and it'll stay open until about midnight on January 19th. So you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to watch the 2020 content. Again, that's your full run of show and your speakers. Everything else that's in here, the welcome highlights, all the bonus content, that will be available for you prior to the 15th. Whenever you get your login information, if you sign in before the 15th, all of this will be available to you. It will also be available to you during that 5-day window and after the 5-day window. So I really am excited that they put this in there. It's just an awesome bonus because the talks last year were phenomenal. So that's the way the platform works. That's how it looks. I can tell you it's super, super simple to use. I am not a very technological person, so I got a little nervous at first, wondering how is this going to go, but it has been so easy to use. I have not had any issues whatsoever. I've watched the full run of show a few times. I've watched the speakers individually multiple times, and I have never had any issues with this. The only thing I'll say is if you have maybe a slow internet speed, that might affect your playback as far as buffering or things like that. But I personally have had no issues with buffering or with it stopping or anything like that. So I'm really happy with and impressed with the platform. Now, while I have you in here, I want to take just a moment. I want to play about 3 minutes of John Maxwell's afternoon session that he did. It was one of my favorite parts. But I just want to play about a 3-minute segment for you so that you can kind of hear, a little bit of the speaker and you can kind of get a feel for, the conference and kind of the vibe that it has. So let me just go ahead and hit play here.
Thank you. Whew. Thank you very, very much. You may be seated. I am so excited about this day, and I'm so excited that you are with us. You're with us. Tens of thousands of you are with us virtually, and I just want to say I'm so honored that you would take some time out of your day to be a part of something that I think has potential to change your life and change the lives of people that you really love. And I'm just so happy for our John Maxwell team. I'm so proud of our coaches. Hundreds of them are on different sites hosting you today. And I'm just so proud of them because they are leaders who really want to make a difference in their community, and they're standing up. And I'm so proud for every one of you here that are live with me in Atlanta that you would come. I mean, this is a very difficult time for all of us. And yet you wanted to be here, and so here we are, and there's no place like this place anywhere near this place. So this must be the place. And there's no day like this day anywhere before or after this day, so this must be the day. And we're going to start it off. I mean, if you're watching me alone, if you're watching me with a group, it doesn't matter. We're going to start it off by just giving a great big round of applause to a Change Your World Day and how we want to be a part of it. So let's just, it's all about it. It's all about it. In fact, I want you to look at your neighbor, and again, if you're watching this virtually or with a group, I want you to turn to somebody beside you right now and say, this is your day to learn how to change your world. Go ahead and tell them that right now. Would you do that? In this session, I want to talk about the joy of the journey. I'm very excited to kind of give you a picture perhaps that no one has ever painted for you about what does a journey look like to bring us to me, what is my most important leadership day I've ever had, introducing Change Your World to every one of you. But this is the tip of the iceberg. This is what we see. This is kind of like what's before us. This is big. But I want you to understand the journey, because every one of you here live in Atlanta, all of you that are watching right now around the world, every one of you have a journey to take. And some of you, if you're beginning this journey, you have no idea all the things that are going to transpire. I was talking a few minutes ago to my friend Ike Reichert. He and I go back 40 years as friends. And he was giving a big hug, and he said, John, he said, I could see this day for you. And I laughed, and I said, well, I couldn't see it for myself.
All right, so I'll cut it off there. But again, just to kind of give you an idea of, they kick off the conference usually pretty high energy, and there's moments of laughter, there's moments of tears. It's just a really great conference with a lot of really quality content. So I am going to go back out to my PowerPoint. I have just a few more things to cover with everybody. Just a couple more minutes here. All right, so just a couple of final details. By the way, this PowerPoint will be made available to you. I'll send it off to Mark so we can send it out to anybody that needs it. So any of the links or the contact information you will have available to you. So again, just a reminder on the dates. So the 2020 content, that live run of show and the 2020 speakers will start on January 15th at midnight. It will end January 19th, also right around midnight. So you have that 5-day window to watch the 2020 content. The 2019 bonus content, that will be available to you prior to the 15th, during the 15th, and after that window closes. The investment for a ticket is $59. That gets you that 5-day on-demand replay of the 2020 conference and speakers. You get that unlimited access to the bonus content. And then 50% of the ticket price is going to be donated back to the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce. So what that means is $29.50 from every ticket sold is going to go back to the Chamber of Commerce. So then the next question is, well, how do I get my tickets? So just a couple things here. There's 2 options for you to purchase tickets. One very important note I do want to make is that ticket sales will end on January 13th. So that gives us another week here for people to purchase their tickets. I am cutting it off a little bit early just to make sure I have enough time to get everybody their login information. But if you're interested in a ticket, you can use a credit card and go to Eventbrite. There's a link on the screen for that. If you need to pay by check, I know sometimes companies, if they buy a few different, they might buy like 10 tickets, for example. I've had companies do that, and they need to have an invoice and they need to pay by check. If you're in that category, you can reach out to me directly. Do not use Eventbrite because they're going to ask you for a credit card. You need to reach out to me directly via phone or email, and I will work with you to get that invoice out and get that taken care of. And then just a few final other details. So when you get your pass or when you purchase a ticket, there has to be a name and an email address associated for each ticket in order to get the login credentials. So here's why I'm sharing that with you. Sometimes companies, as I just mentioned, might buy like 10 passes and they're not really sure who's going to use them, but they figure, oh, we'll just, randomly send them out to whoever we think can use them. You're not really able to do that because I need to know the actual name and email address of the person using it, because that information is required for them to get their login credentials set up. So please just keep that in mind. Now, as far as the login credentials and instructions go, I will be sending out that information prior to the event start date. Right now, my plan is to start sending that information out on the 11th of January. So this coming Monday, I will start sending out emails probably once or twice a day to anybody that purchases their ticket, and it'll have all the instructions on what you need to do to set up your Leader Pass account. It's super easy. Like I said, all you really need is your name and email. I'm not going to ask you for phone numbers and payments and all that kind of stuff. It's really simple, just name and email. There is a no refund policy for this because it is a fundraising event. Also because there is that 5-day window to watch the content, and then you have all that bonus content. There is no refund policy on this. And then the event, this is more so for the HR professionals out there that have their SHRM certification. This event has been approved for 3.75 personal development credits for your certification. So that's pretty exciting. All right, beyond that, in just a minute, I'll open it up to see if anyone has questions. But as time goes on in the next couple days, if you have questions on the event or tickets, or you need some help with anything, please just contact me directly. If you do contact the chamber, they're just going to send you to me anyways. So just reach out to me directly. My phone and email information is up on the screen. And like I said, we'll send this out afterwards. So that is all I have. A lot of those key details that people often ask me questions about, or that I think is important for you to know as you make an informed decision if you're going to support this fundraising event. But I'll just take a moment here. Are there any questions from anybody that is joining us this morning?
Angela, one quick question. I know you you mentioned it before, but continuing credits for SHRM certification, how many credits would they get?
3.75 credits.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, we'll get this out to folks. We'll certainly link it on our website again and get out promotion. I think the 13th next week is the last is the cutoff date for registration. So we'll hopefully get people to get on early and register. So Angela, I appreciate your joining us again this morning. I think you have a program coming up again with us. Is it later this month?
Next week,
February?
Wednesday. Yep, next Wednesday.
So we'll be joining you again at that time. So thanks again for doing this for us and being part of our programming for the chamber. So I think with that, we will sign off. So thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.